In the past couple of years, pickup trucks have become a lot more refined, quieter, a bit softer riding, and a bit easier to drive. But what if you just want an honest-to-goodness blue-collared pickup? Where do you turn to? Well, I say you turn to this brand. And that brand is Isuzu. Now, Isuzu has long had a reputation for dependability and reliability. Just ask every foreman and OFW who has bought one. But the competition is much tighter now among the pickup truck segment, as it veers more towards the lifestyle crowd rather than the good old foreman and the person who carries actual stuff at the back. But can the Isuzu, with its blue-collar charm, still cut the mustard in today's competition? Well, only one way to find out. Let's take it out for a spin. Now, this current generation D-Max has been around since 2014. Yes, we know it had a facelift a couple of years ago, which saw this sort of cut in the headlights. But other than that, you're very familiar with the look of this already. But if you stop and take a look at it a bit longer, you could say that it's actually a pretty handsome looking vehicle. Now, with these upswept headlights and this brash chrome grille definitely add to that effect. And these chunky fender flares, which are integrated by the way, make it look even wider than it really is. Now, onto the sides, well, there's not much to talk about really because it's a pickup and there's really not much way to style a pickup truck, let's be honest about it. And the same goes for the back with those vertical taillights. Well, I do have to say that the bed isn't exactly the longest in its class, but it's low and it's wide, so that makes sliding items in and out much easier. Now, inside this top-of-the-line D-Max, well, you get a fair amount of standard equipment on board. You have a touchscreen with a navigation system and even automatic climate control. And for those who prefer to charge their mobile devices with USB ports, there are two down here. Now, for cabin materials, well, I'll be honest, it's all hard plastic in here, from the dash to the door cards to the door trims. And there's very little padding here in the armrest. But other than that, well, it's actually decently designed, and as long as you don't touch it that often, it's actually an okay place to be in. One thing I do like about the D-Max though is this, the secondary glove box, which is really effective if you're storing sort of smaller items and all that. The only thing I don't like really is the sound of that. The other thing I do also like about the D-Max's interior is that there are stacks and stacks of drink holders. I have one by my side and another by the passenger side. There are two more cup holders here. There are bottle holders here in each of the doors and even at the back. So no one's gonna get thirsty inside this car. Now for driving position, well, this is the, again, range stopper. So you get these power adjustable seats. They go up and down and forward and aft. Also, the steering adjusts tilt, so it goes up or down. Although I do wish in the next generation model at least, it would have a telescopic function so I could bring the steering wheel closer to myself. Now, I am not that tall, so you would think that I would have a tough time maneuvering this thing around, but actually visibility is really good in this, and what I like is they set the dash low so I could see more in front of me. Now, normally in a pickup truck, you wouldn't expect to find anything in here, but in the case of the D-Max, that's not the case. So for example, you have a bag hook right behind the driver's seat, and you even have seat pockets at the back. One thing I like about the D-Max's rear quarters is it has a USB port. Yes, there's only one, but the fact that it's there matters a lot. Of course, if there's two of you here, you might have to fight for that one. But still, the fact that it has a USB port at the back means a lot, especially in the pickup truck segment. And you also have a pair of extra cup holders that flip down here too. And there are also bottle holders on each rear door. Another thing that'll at least make it a bit better here at the back is this rear armrest. So sitting at the back here doesn't mean it's a penalty box. And I do have to note that the seats of the D-Max are a bit on the upright side, but it won't give you backache. Still, even in this position, I still have enough decent headroom, although even if I'm not that tall. Taller occupants would probably start brushing a bit of the headliner. And this front seat is in my driving position, so you think there's a lot of space, but if anyone about 5'8", 5'9" would sit in front, I still have a fair amount of wiggle room, so it's actually not bad here at the back of the D-Max. Also, it has the rather clever flip-up seats, and we featured that before in the D-Max 4x2 video with the 1.9 engine, and you can check that out right here. Now, there's a lot of people these days saying that, no, a pickup truck is very car-like to ride in these days. I would beg to disagree, because at the end of the day, a pickup is still a pickup. It can be comfortable for a pickup, but not totally car-like. And the Isuzu D-Max sort of falls in that category. Now, I will say that the D-Max's ride is on the stiff side, especially if you're seated at the back. Here in front, actually, it's not so bad. I'm actually surprised. When you're seated here up front, it's actually pretty wallowy even, really, really soft. But when you get over a bump and your rear wheels go over, well, a bit of road imperfections, like we will now, you might notice that my voice is going to change a little bit. It's going to be a bit more shaky, and you're going to hear a bit more jiggling happen inside. Still, if you're looking for some heavy-duty stuff, then the D-Max will easily take on that. As for handling, well, we are in the winding roads of Tanay, and, well, there's no other way of saying it. It's in no way, shape, or form car-like to drive. I can say that the power in the D-Max is adequate at best. Now, I'm not gonna say it's gonna be a performance car by any measure, and that's mainly because, well, performance figures are actually lower than that of most of its competitors in the top-of-the-line stakes. Let's say that the D-Max doesn't make the most power among its competitors, but still, power delivery is actually decent. It's a bit noisy. You could probably hear it through the mic already, but going up this hill, the D-Max is chugging along pretty well. And of course, what's good about this thing is it still returns pretty decent fuel economy. Now, in city traffic, which, let's face it, kills fuel economy, it still returns about 9 kilometers per liter. And if you're out on the highway, you're looking at figures of about 14 to 15 even, and that's even while waiting around in the toll and a fair bit of overtaking. So the D-Max, so do we think of it? Well, to be honest, on paper it doesn't sound that impressive. It doesn't make the most power, torque isn't the most spacious, and it doesn't have the biggest payload capacity, which matters a lot in a pickup. So why would you even consider one of these? Well, it's simple. If you need a pickup with a well-established reputation and the feeling of solidity, the Isuzu D-Max is one of your top choices. And this 4x4 model starts at 1.7 million pesos, so you get stuff like stability control, a reverse camera, and whatnot. And even some competitors don't have that standard, so I guess you could say it has pretty good value as well. And it has one of the longest warranties in its class. So, on paper at least, it doesn't sound impressive, but if you take it out on the road, you'll understand why a lot of people still buy this truck.